Over the past few months, I've been able to test out a plethora of different phones, ranging from fairly cheap older phones to fairly more recent and more expensive phones. This is a phone I really wasn't expecting to review because of its price and because of its age, considering we do tend to review older phones, and it's a phone that I'm really glad that I was able to test. Alright guys, it's your boy Ryan Thomas here, and this is the review and the only in 2016 video of the OnePlus 3. Now usually I preface this with some kind of announcement, whether, maybe I've got a dodgy unit, or maybe I, don't like this phone, or it was a disappointment or whatever. I usually get disappointed by phones, and you guys know that, and you guys know that I'm a fairly harsh guy when it comes to phone reviews because I expect quite a lot out of phones that, to me cost a hell of a lot of money. Now this is something that's probably the best point and really does feel like the best point of the phone, and that is the value. Now the iPhone 6s Plus and the OnePlus 3, an iOS device, and well, I don't know if you can call it Android device, it's based on Oxygen OS, that's based on Android, but still, two devices from opposite ends of the spectrum are my favourite phones of all time. If I could have any two phones right now, from the ones I've tested obviously, my two favourite phones are the OnePlus 3 and the iPhone 6s Plus. Before it would have been the Nexus 6P and the iPhone 6s Plus, but guys, this utterly destroys the 6P in any kind of competition. Now, a standout feature from the OnePlus 3, like I said, is its value. When it came out in the UK, right here, it cost us 300 Great British pounds without postage and stuff, but I'm pretty sure postage was free from OnePlus at the time. That's quite a lot of money for a phone, you might say £300. For a brand new flagship phone that is literally top of its class, and yes, it is top of its class, I don't know, £300 doesn't sound all that much. Then you compare it to the iPhone 6s Plus, remember my other favourite phone of all time, which cost well over £600 when it came out off contract from Apple, the manufacturer, which makes you think, wow, the iPhone 6s Plus cost over double the OnePlus 3 when it came out. Anyway, considering its value and everything, let's get into this video. I've been rambling for too long. The first thing that I want to say is this takes the crown from the Galaxy S5, from the Nexus 6P, and from the iPhone 6s Plus as the best screen I've ever seen on a phone. To me. Now, I know a lot of people say Quad HD, this is a time for VR and stuff, and people are going to be using Google Cardboard and the new OnePlus VR headset that they came out with. I believe it's the Loop VR or something. And for that, OnePlus themselves came out and said, right, this is a 1080p phone. This is not the highest PPI. This is not the highest screen density in terms of the pixels. But for me, it's the best. If they'd have gone for a Quad HD 1440p, whatever, even up to a 4K display, whatever, that would have been too much for me. The battery life is good, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but I knew that it would have been ruined if they'd have put a 1440p display on this, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. It's just the fact that it's got a good enough battery. If it had gone further, it would have gone to a bad one. So I'm glad they went with a 1440p display. I think it looks crisp. A lot of people have been saying, you can't tell the difference between 1440p, 1080p, including myself, and I've said that loads of times. I'm sure somebody can make a YouTube poop of me editing, it all in, and I can honestly tell you that I can notice a difference now, and I was wrong. I'm sorry. I've got my Nexus 6 with me, which I need to sell quite soon, and I've got the OnePlus 3, a 5.5-inch 1080p display, and a 6-inch 1440p display, and yes, you can tell a tiny bit of a difference, but it's not worth it for the battery life. If it was more efficient, by all means go for the 1440p display. Okay, so for the main spec, we have got a Snapdragon 820, top of its class, 820, pretty good CPU. It's not quite as good as I think the newer Huawei CPUs are coming out with, and it's more powerful, I guess, on its own. And of course, the Apple A9 with its software and its optimization would probably be as good as this in terms of day-to-day performance. We've also got another spec that you might be kind of excited about. That's the fact that this phone has 6 GB of RAM. You could probably vlog with this phone. Now the camera performance is pretty good, I'll give it that, and I believe that maybe it's not quite as good as the 6s Plus because I prefer the video of it. Apparently there is stabilization with this phone in video, but it just doesn't feel like it. If you look at something like a Galaxy S7, again, haven't tested the phone, can't give first-hand experience. What I can say is from the pictures and videos online, the S7 looks better than this. It's a very close battle, but the OnePlus 3 does retain a lot of detail. Now, it does tend to over sharpen sometimes, and you can tell that in the image processing, but overall I think it looks absolutely incredible. And if you look at photos and you zoom in, you can still see that it retains so much detail, even though it's got a 13 megapixel sensor and everything. Again, 13 megapixel sensor on the back, capable of shooting 4K video at 30 FPS and 720p video at 120 FPS, which is awesome. You know, not quite as high end as something like an Nexus 6P or an iPhone 6s Plus in terms of its slow motion, but definitely in terms of video and photos, this is actually very good. Now, for the front-facing camera, you've got an 8 megapixel shooter capable of shooting 1080p video as well, which is awesome. And if you just, let me just get this up right here. Yeah, I am doing this. And yeah, I'm just going to do this a second. I've got the camera up here, and I'm just going to carry on with this video on the OnePlus 3. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit shaky, and I guess the exposure is not the best, and everything's just a little bit kind of muted. But overall, I think this is something you could definitely vlog with if you know your camera's out of battery, or maybe you just want a phone and you don't want to carry around another camera. This is definitely an absolutely great camera. You can get some decent vlogs out of this as well. Now, for the battery, you have a non-removable 3000 milliamp hour battery in here, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but if you've noticed how thin this phone is, you will understand. 3000 milliamp hours is around enough. I've managed to get a couple of days out of this at once, which was really, really difficult for me, but I managed to get, you know, just about a day and a half. I don't do the whole hours of screen on time thing, because honestly, I do real world reviews. I don't really do the specs and all that kind of stuff, you know. I take it into account, I have to, that's one of the main things of a review, but I also have to consider, you know, day-to-day use. Now, I'm a decently power-hungry user. You know, I play a little Pokemon Go on this, and you know, I use the camera quite a lot, and I'm always on Snapchat, I'm always texting people, I'm always in group chats on Facebook Messenger and all this, and I managed to get at least a day out of it. The one day I didn't get a full day out of it was when I was playing a lot of Pokemon Go, and also mainly setting this phone up, like, you know, installing all the apps, and as you do when you get a new phone. That's the day that I generally don't manage to get a full day out of anything. The only thing that's managed to get a full day, you know, on the first day was the 6s Plus. But really, the battery life doesn't matter all that much. Now, this does have a USB Type-C connector on the bottom, like the 6P, and there will be some comparison videos coming up of this versus the two phones that I mainly talk about, being the 6P and the 6s Plus. Guys, the reason I mention those phones so much is because they are direct competitors to this. No, not in monetary value, because as we all know, this is so much cheaper and you get so much more for your money out of this compared to the other two phones, but they're definitely competitors. Now, this does have dash charge, which is OnePlus's kind of quick charge 3.0 competitor. You know, it does an insane job. I believe it's 2% per minute. I might be wrong there, but it's very, very quick. Use the dash charge cable, which is a USB Type-C to Type-A. You plug that into their little dash charge wall wart, which is 4 amps, and you'll be getting about 2% a minute. It might be more than that, but it's definitely quick, and you're able to charge it up quite a lot. This is a phone you cannot leave on charge overnight. If you buy this phone, warning, don't leave it on overnight charging, because, I mean, you shouldn't do it with any phone, but definitely not this one, because it is such a high amperage compared to most other phone chargers that you're probably going to just destroy your battery if you leave it on charge all the time. Some extra specs, you've got a pretty average speaker on the bottom. You've also got the headphone jack on the bottom as well, which is something that I wasn't really a big fan of, but I've stopped really listening to music on my phone as much. I do a lot of running, and I never find earbuds that actually work for me, so I just tend to run without music nowadays, which is okay. You have nothing on the top. On the left, you've got a volume rocker and also a 3-way mute switch, which is priority notifications, completely silent, and also all notifications, which is awesome. And also you can program these to do, you know, different notifications on different levels. On the right, we do have a lock button, as well as the SIM tray, you know, where you put the SIM cards. And yes, SIM cards. You can put 2 SIM cards in this, which is awesome. I mean, maybe you want one for data, maybe you want one, you know, for different numbers and stuff. I'm not sure, maybe you have a work number, you also have a home number. It's really cool that you can put 2 SIM cards in this. And there's an awesome deal on Amazon, I believe it's still there right now, where you can get about 6 or 7 gigabytes of EE data for about £15, which is incredible. And you know, just putting that in there would be awesome, just to use for your data, and then obviously everyone else can contact you via your main SIM. Again, on the front, we got a 5.5-inch 1080p AMOLED display, which is absolutely incredible. At the top, we've got an 8 megapixel selfie camera. We've also got the speaker for your phone, and then at the bottom, we've got 2 capacitive buttons, which can be located to the screen, you know, relocated so you can have on-screen buttons instead and ignore those buttons. And we have a home button, except for it's not a button, it's capacitive. It looks like a button that you can press in. It's not. It's a fingerprint scanner. That is insanely quick right now. Now, you guys know how much I kind of fanboy over my old 6S Plus and how fast a fingerprint scanner was on that. This feels like it beats it. It is monumentally quick, and it definitely beats the 6P in terms of the best fingerprint scanner. It is monumental, and I absolutely love it. And finally, the build quality. I think I'd say this was finally, because I'm putting the phone down now. This is something I really want to talk about. It is, for me, the best feeling phone in the hand that I've ever held. Maybe apart from the Moto X 2nd generation. It is all metal. If you look at this phone, you're like, oh, that's got to cost about £500-600. No, this is an incredibly good feeling phone. It is thin, it is light. There's a camera bump which I'm not too proud of, and I just wish OnePlus could have made the phone a little bit thicker. But then again, because it's so thin, you just kind of think, wow, what a marvel in technology. It is absolutely incredible, and I thank OnePlus for coming out with another phone, again, that is just... it's just really good. Alright guys, this is going to be the end of the video. There will be comparison videos and stuff soon. I'm really tired. I have worn myself out thinking about how good this phone is. You know, it's just good. It's just good, guys. So this is my new favourite phone apart from the 6S Plus. This is like the two, yeah, joint first place in favourite phone. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been your boy Ryan Thomas. I hope you've enjoyed this video. A little bit more animated in this video compared to other videos. I've been pretty energetic recently. And yeah, links to vlogs in the box below. It would be awesome for you to go and have a look at those. So I'm going to spend another like 24 hours editing this mad thing, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.